I turn to my right and I say hello to you, Eric Davis. It has been a long time. It has been too long since you have been here on the show.
Rich. It's been too long. Why have you been keeping me off?
I have not. Hold on. Move this microphone.
Oh, we need that? Okay.
There you
okay,
go.
here we go.
Okay. Yeah.
There we go.
Much appreciation to see you.
I've been missing you.
Well, I've been coming up to Culver City.
Yeah.
You've seen me up there.
I've seen you there, but it's different.
Well,
it's a different feel when you're on the wall.
You should show up. You mean on TV up there is what you're saying, on the wall?
Yeah, it's different.
Okay, good.
It's different.
All right, because I didn't know I'm on the wall anywhere. Am I on a wall somewhere? Where am I on the wall?
You're on the wall. I mean, you're on the wall right here.
Oh, okay.
But it's different when you're on the wall there, when I'm just looking at your face and, in the green room.
Well, I'm appreciative of you being here always, number one, A. B, you are here as news has just broken in the National Football League. We've been waiting to see what's going on with Von Miller and all the other guys who are going to be signing franchise tender tags today or long-term deals or none of the above. And instead, the news is related to Tom Brady, who on his Facebook page moments ago said he will not be pressing any further in this legal case against the National Football League. And he is, in fact, going to just leave it where it is, will not go forward to the Supreme Court. He will be missing the first 4 games of this season. That is happening. Tom Brady.
Yeah.
You expected that?
I expected that.
I didn't expect that.
I didn't expect the Supreme Court to take time out of everything that's going on in the world today. I just not.
No, I know that, but it's not.
But I'm just saying, I just didn't think that the Supreme Court was going to take time to really care about what was happening on the football field.
Well, it's not what's about the football field. It would have been about arbitration cases as a whole in the United States between employer and employee. It would have been a much larger issue. They would not have been talking about why there wasn't a second gauge to air out the footballs.
I understand. We're worried what some of the parameters would have been. What would have been discussed, but it still boils down to whether or not this quarterback is going to be on the field. And I didn't think it was going to happen that way. And I suspected that he was going to eventually just say, okay, the easiest thing to do is just to get this over with and then move on.
Now it just comes down to the case. It's a damn shame that somebody is missing 4 games over a supposed ball deflation scheme.
Didn't have to happen. Yeah, and I think it's ridiculous that it had to come to this, but I believe that this was brought on by Tom. I will always believe that this was brought on by Tom. Just simply say, that's the way I like the balls to be, and accept the fine and move on.
But it wasn't a fine. You know what I'm saying?
It would have been a fine if when this first started, when they first realized that something was wrong with the balls, all he had to do is say, that's the way I like the balls. My bad, won't happen again. It would have been a $25,000 fine.
You really think so,
yes.
Eric? Because if we just want to really hit the Wayback Machine right here, it was right after the AFC Championship game. The whole world was going nuts over it. And I mean the world. I mean NBC News, CNN, everybody. News crews were showing up in New England to discuss this. Okay?
Yes.
So it was a big to-do.
What
was happening?
It was a big to-do, but just like every other rule that's in place, if something goes wrong, there are consequences, and the consequences for tampering with the ball would have been a fine.
So if he had just come out in that first press conference that happened, I do believe, if my memory serves correct, the Thursday after the AFC Championship game, and said, you know what? I told these guys to deflate the footballs to a certain level. That's just the way I like it. My bad, it won't happen again.
It wouldn't have been a big deal. And it didn't even have to happen at the press conference. When they were asked, when the balls were being checked, and they said, what happened to the balls? This is the way I like the balls. My bad. They would have moved on. It would have been a fine. Quarterbacks like their balls a certain way. Is there anyone that actually believes that someone is going to do something to a football that Tom Brady doesn't like?
No.
No. Okay.
You mean on their own?
On their own.
But it is also completely feasible that the footballs were at a certain level of PSI because of the way a football reacts in weather, in inclement cold weather, you know. And the football that started it all was intercepted by the opponent. It's not as if they scored a touchdown, Gronk spikes it, somebody from Indianapolis picks it up and hands that in. It was one that the
Absolutely.
Colts had picked off because it was thrown errantly.
So well, I mean,
Do you know what I'm saying? So,
I know what you're saying, but I also know that every other ball was also in that range. Nearly every other ball that they had was in that range.
We can go back and forth on that because
so-
the Wells report, to me, I've read it so many times. I would put that in the circular file every single time. There are certain things in there. There are certain things in there, though, that do make it look pretty shady.
Yes.
With the deflator referring to himself as a deflator.
When you read it.
But the stuff in the Wells report that came out, I can't believe we're redoing.
Yeah, let's stop.
No. But no, it's now officially over.
Yes.
Today is the day. It is officially over.
Yes.
In terms of the battle that's going back.
I just hate that it came to that because I want to see Tom on the field as much as I possibly can. You know, he's just so good at what he does. You always want to see him play. You want to see the best play. And I understand that there are teams out there that are like, good, we don't have to go against him.
Right.
But still, just as a competitor, you want to go against that guy. I mean, he's the best.
Yeah, Marcel Darius, didn't he say, guys, yesterday that he had tears when he heard that Brady might not be playing against the Bills? Because that's game 4 of 4 that the Patriots will be playing with Garoppolo without Brady at Arizona, home for Miami, short week at home against Houston on Thursday Night Football, and then long week off, the week and a half after that, the mini bye, as they say, home for Buffalo. What do you think what's their record, Eric
All they
Davis?
have to do is go 2-2, and they're fine.
Who's going to beat them of Garoppolo? Texans on a short week on the road in a spot where where they haven't won hardly done anything.
Well, they get Miami there, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So
but after Miami, if I'm not mistaken, again, this is all off the top of my head. Can you guys look this up? I do believe Miami starts in Seattle. Miami gets that Seattle at New England.
But Adam
kickoff.
Adam is already game planning for that one. Adam Gase is already game planning for that.
Boy, everybody's talking about him like he's going to be the difference maker between the Dolphins winning 10 games or 6 games. Honestly, that's what a lot of people are mentioning about Adam Gase right now.
Well, Adam Gase has a certain attitude about cockiness and confidence that can sort of permeate the locker room and the team. I think that's going to happen.
So you believe in Adam Gase and what he'd be able to do with Ryan Tannehill?
What I do believe is if Adam Gase can't get him going, he's not going to get going.
So this is Tannehill's last stand, if you will.
Well, I think we're going to see him max out. We're going to see what his max is. I'm not going to say it's his last stand. There are a lot of bad quarterbacks in the league, but we will see. I do believe he will get the maximum potential from Tannehill. I think Adam Gase is that good.
I've got Eric Davis here in the Rich Eisen Show studio. So, the Dolphins do start in
Dolphins do start in Seattle Sunday, September 11th.
So they're going to go to Seattle, be the, if you will, opening day fodder for the 12s.
Yeah, that's going to hurt.
And then
that's going to hurt.
And then
at
New England.
That one. That'll be a tough one. The Buffalo game.
I don't know. I'd say 3-1. I say they lose to Arizona in Arizona the first Sunday night NBC
Arizona,
game.
Yeah.
And then
that
they
one.
win the next
that
three.
one I didn't. I count that one as a loss even with Brady playing.
And then poor Cleveland. The Browns are the ones that get Brady when he first comes back with the chip on the shoulder. What do you think?
Factory of sadness.
What do you think? Because everybody, and when T.O. comes out, he's going to want to talk NBA too. Anyway, you see what's going on in Cleveland, with Cleveland, what's happening with the what happened with the Cavs. Mm-hmm. The Indians have done very well. Now here come the Browns. How well do you think Hugh Jackson can fare with this team year one? RG3. What are your thoughts on that?
A lot of it with Cleveland, it's the front office. A lot of it's going to be how much control they're going to give him, what they're going to allow him to do. Hugh Jackson is a very good coach, and Hugh Jackson gets the best out of players. And if you talk to guys when he's a position coach and he's a quarterback coach, they'll tell you that he made them better players. So a lot of it is going to be changing the belief. You see what the Raiders are doing. The Raiders are slowly, Reggie McKenzie has gotten in there, and he's slowly turning the roster and changing the mindset of that team. That's what has to happen in Cleveland also. But one thing that does help, Rich, I think it helps a lot seeing everyone get the pats on the back on the Cavaliers squad. The Cavaliers have brought that feeling to the city. They know what it's like.
That it
can happen. They know what it's like, and those guys smell it and they see it, and they're going to want it. Because they were walking around town, and you're still a Brown, and they still love you, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those fans love them there. It's a big time sports town. But now they taste it and they smell it, and they're going to want it. So I believe that Hugh is actually coming in at a good time. He's a good coach. They're trying to change the mindset, and they have that feeling in the city. So, we'll see how fast he can turn it.
And you just touched on something as well. That Raider bandwagon, I think, is going to be jam-packed, full up, where they're selling seats, asking people to get off the bandwagon to make sure that other people can get on. And that's what I'm hearing a lot of people thinking that in this post-Peyton AFC West world, that there is going to be a vacuum filled by the silver and black. Would you agree with that?
They're on their way. I think Brady's doing a good job filling it. I think you would be sort of short-sighted if you overlook Kansas City, because Andy Reid tends to have 10-win teams all the time. Mm-hmm. So if you're just overlooking them, I think that's going to be an issue, because that's a solid ball club. But the Raiders have the things in place to be a very competitive team, and they should be in the hunt. This may be the year. They just need a couple of wins early. Because once you get that string of wins going, you start to believe that you can beat anyone.
Can you look up the Raiders' first four?
Sure.
We have this conversation before T.O. joins us. But, because you've got, again, Sanchez quarterbacking Denver, which we assume will have Von Miller on its roster.
Sanchez will not be quarterbacking Denver.
Well, who's it going to be?
The rookie's going to play.
Trevor Siemian?
Paxton Lynch?
I think Paxton Lynch is going to eventually.
Week 1, it's going to be Paxton Lynch versus Cam?
I would go with. I think I would go with Paxton Lynch. See this. You have to, because you have Mark Sanchez, and I'm trying to think, what's the backup name now? I can't think of his name right now.
Trevor Siemian.
Siemian. If Siemian can't beat out Sanchez, there's no way I'm putting him on the field.
Wow.
If you can't beat out Sanchez, you're not starting for me. I'm saying if it's neck and neck, I'm not putting Siemian on the field. So unless he's clearly better, I would put him out there. If he's not clearly better than Mark Sanchez, then I know what I have. And if that's what I have in both of those guys, I'm going with Paxton Lynch.
Read the 4 Raiders, and then we'll get T.O. involved.
Raiders open the season at the Saints September 11th, then they're home versus the Falcons, at the Titans, and then October 2nd at the Ravens. 3 out of their first 4 on the road.
What do you think? They can make some hay right there, right? But 3 of the first 4 on the road.
Yeah, you can make some.
They're starting at the Saints.
They're starting at the Saints, and so you're counting on your defense, and I get it, and that defense is solid. But I've talked to a lot of those guys on that defense, and the one thing that, yes, they played last year. Their defense won it, and Peyton didn't play extremely well in a lot of situations, and they were able to overcome it. But your defense can't overcome, the pick sixes. Your defense can't overcome the short field all the time when you're turning the ball over, and that's what Sanchez does.
Okay. Terrell Owens is going to join us later on in this hour. The poll question today is brought to you by TrueCar. Save time and money by downloading TrueCar's mobile app. Configure the new car you want, see what others paid for it, and get guaranteed savings. TrueCar users save, on average, over $3,000 off of MSRP. Save time and save money. Download the TrueCar app today. Brockman, what's our poll question at richeisenshow.com?
All right, Derek Jeter got married over the weekend. He set the mold for young, handsome, rich athletes on how they should live their lives, right? We saw his professional baseball diamond full of ladies that he'd been associated with.
Where is this going?
Just wait for it. Played his whole career as a single bachelor in New York City. What could be better, right?
Yeah.
Bryce Harper announced over the baseball break that he was getting engaged for a second time to his longtime girlfriend, Kayla Varner, at the age of 22. And we all expect Bryce Harper to be the highest paid Major League Baseball player very, very soon. Today's poll question is, if you were Bryce Harper, would you be getting engaged at age 22?
Wow. Really?
This is the most dumbass poll question you may have ever come up with. I'm glad we didn't ask it when Harbaugh was here.
Well, I think he would have had a great, interesting
he's a Jeter
response,
guy.
right?
What if the guy's in love? Who the hell are we to say what's what?
Agreed.
22.
If that's the one, that's the one.
Yeah, well, this is the second time they've been engaged. In 2015, they
So
were
what?
engaged.
Which
and
could
then,
mean it's
and
the
then
one
broke
that
up,
he
but-
stepped away from it and realized, that even at an early age,
Yeah.
that's the one.
And just because you're a single man, a hollow shell of a man, that you're like, you'd love to live the life of a Major League Baseball player who gets to do whatever he wants to do,
with $400 million.
does
my
not
own
mean
dollars.
that Bryce Harper can't
It
start
doesn't need to get split in
get
half.
married and figure out what he wants to do, have children at an early age.
Absolutely. And so you're already viewing it. He's
And by the
saying
way,
being
he's 23.
split in
Doesn't
half,
matter,
so
doesn't
you're
matter.
already saying that it's not going to work out.
This is a prenup situation anyway, right?
The Massey prenup. He's got to have a Massey. But, I mean,
Okay, so should we switch it to the Patriots record without Tom Brady or something?
yeah, you could do that. If
I
you
mean, I
wanna do
really
that.
like this poll question. I mean, because early results, fellas, 78% say no. So,
Well, it's because they all thought he was 22.
people are
You put
siding
the
with-
wrong age up
People
there.
are siding with me here.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.